guys, I am here with Killer Instinct player Paulb, who won Summer Jam 8 and competed this year in NEC15 for Killer Instinct. How are you today?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm good. Now, I had previously met you and we did a written interview post Summer Jam 8 after your win. What have you been doing? Have you competed in any tournaments between Summer Jam 8 and now NEC?
Yeah, so a few. As you know, obviously I won Summer Jam there, and I actually took it away from the Evo champ, which in my opinion for me was like a big win for me. So
yeah, definitely.
That really sort of solidified all the hard work that I've been doing in that game and trying to be on top. There were a lot of people that weren't at that tournament, so while it was fulfilling in one regard to beat the Evo champ, you know, there were other people like Rico Suave and Justin Wong and stuff like that who didn't show up. But since then, for that reason, I've been doing a lot of heavy training, you know, to be able to beat people like Rico Suave and Justin Wong and people like that in tournament. There were a few online tournaments between TFC and NEC, run by Alex Valle actually, called Online World Championship, which were amazingly successful. I mean, for the first one, there must have been at least 3,000 people for grand finals. And
really?
I made it into grand finals again with the Evo champ, and he was playing Maya.
I didn't realize that there were 3,000.
3,000, yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't expect that with how many people actually show up to the physical tournaments for KI.
And I think part of that is the fact that Alex Valle's channel Level Up has a lot of people from Street Fighter. So for him, he plays the game, he likes the game, he likes any new game that comes out that supports the FGC. So for Alex Valle, supporting KI is just a way to support the FGC.
Right.
And he threw these tournaments, and the reason 3,000 people were there is because they're mostly Street Fighter people or like Marvel people or whatever. Actually, I don't think Alex Valle plays Marvel, but mostly Street Fighter guys. So he's trying to expose the game to new people, and it was amazingly successful. Like I said, 3,000 people. I made it to second place there against CD Jr. So that's kind of what I've been doing between TFC and NEC. So there were two of those tournaments, but actually I got fifth. In the second one, I lost to Tyrant, actually, who I lost to here. He put me in losers.
Aww.
So that's what I've been doing between, basically just a lot of training, I'm trying to expand my repertoire, so to speak, with different characters. I've been sort of a character loyalist with Saberwolf, but now that more characters and different changes are starting to be introduced into KI, it's hard to keep up with certain matchups, which actually happened today. So I need to sort of expand and start learning characters that I can counterpick with, or that I can at least pick against my counterpicks to be able to do well.
Right, and speaking of NEC and Killer Instinct, I know that they just finished top 8 not that long ago.
Yep.
How do you think that you did today?
Oh, I'm actually not feeling too great. I mean, I got fourth place. I made it into top 8. You know, that's always the big thing. You know, the big thing is always to make it into top 8, and then you got to have some time to relax and then go in with a fresh perspective and, you know, a good night's sleep and really try to play your best. I mean, pools are kind of crazy, but once you get to top 8, you play your best, and that's where the high-level play comes out for the most part. And, you know, for everyone that watched, I made it up there with Rico Suave, and he picked Conra, which is a new character, and he thought that the fact that the character was new and that he's sort of a bad matchup for the character that I play, Saberwolf, that he would have sort of an easy time, or at least that it was in his favor in some way, and that he would win it. So he won the first match, I won the second match, and I knew once he won the first match that I probably should have picked my character. I knew obviously he had to stay with Conra, and I was thinking between picking Saberwolf or Sadir. Sadir is another character that I'm working on. And as I hovered over Sadir, I sort of doubted myself, and actually I trained her for that moment. I trained her for the counter-picking moment where I knew specifically Rico Suave would be counter-picking me in tournament. Right. And I doubted myself when I picked Saberwolf, and I did beat Conra again. I did beat him one match, and we made it to the third match, but then he counterpicked me with Glacius, which is almost a 7-3 matchup in my opinion. And I was demoralized. I almost kind of gave up, and it was, you know, bad on my part. So I kind of learned a lesson, which is, you know, you learn a counterpick for a reason, or you learn another character for a reason. Don't doubt yourself in tournament when the time comes.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what? You still got fourth place, which is still really good in my eyes. It's top 8. You know, I told other players before, you know, you shouldn't let it get to you. Just, you know, if you think that you made a mistake, then the next tournament, then change that and, you know, take a new approach to where you're going.
It's experience for the future. I know that next time, you know, between now and the next tournament, I'm going to have a lot of time to make my Sadira even stronger. So I think the next time that I hover over her box in tournament, I won't be so I wouldn't doubt myself so much, and I'll just stick with her and kind of trust my instincts.
Right. Now, for NEC, actually, I had saw online that you had actually donated $100 towards the pool for KI. You don't really normally see players. You normally see sponsors and other companies that come in and donate money to the pool. So where was the decision in that, where you decided, all right, I'm going to actually donate money?
So it's a number of things. I think most people who are well versed in the FGC and pay attention to what's going on know that KI there's been a lot of talk about whether it's on its way out and whether it's a dying game. It hasn't been getting as much attention at tournaments. It's always in a side stream. This tournament actually, was better turnout. But for me, what I wanted to do is contribute some money to the Paulb bonus to kind of convince people to come out. And I actually run a stream called the Paulb Show, and I have a lot of people come in. They're mostly KI players, and I wanted to sort of get people to the tournament. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There are a lot of competitive players. There are a lot of great players who are passionate about the game, but they don't all come out to tournaments.
Right.
So, me and Rico Suave and CD Jr. and people who stream constantly KI, we wanted to sort of give people a reason to come out. We wanted to let them know that NEC was an important event for KI to show people that, like, the game's not dead. There's a strong competitive community here. And we just need to come out and show that. So I think it worked. I put money in the Paulb bonus. So did the Steam Co., which is really great. And people showed up. And actually, for on-site reg, I think they actually turned people away at Reach the Max. So
really? Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, whatever we did to try to get attention to this game and to get people to come out and show out. I mean, people came from Canada. There were people in the Salty Suite that came from Canada, all over the place. So I think it was a success. And that's why I did it, you know what I mean?
Well, no, that's definitely very, very admirable of you. Like I said, there's not many players that actually do that. Speaking of the fate of KI, with the recent announcement of Street Fighter V that literally has come out just in the weekend of NEC, there's been a lot of talk, ironically from KI players, about the fact that now that we have MK10, Tekken 7, Street Fighter V, that the fate of Killer Instinct, they don't think it's going to last after this EVO coming up next year. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I mean, I'm concerned for the future of the game in general, and now the fact that they've, the next Street Fighter iteration is going to be exclusively to PS4 and PC. I don't know. I mean, I think there are different audiences. I think there's a lot of cross-pollination between those games. There are a lot of players who play Street Fighter, and there's a lot of players, a lot of those same players play KI, but I also think it's a different set of people, you know what I mean? A lot of the guys who play KI aren't necessarily Street Fighter players. I have played Street Fighter, but I didn't come from that background. I came from a different background. So I don't think it'll necessarily kill the game or anything like that. I do think that, at least for KI, it's in trouble already because of, the switch between developers. A lot of people don't agree with some of the changes that are being made between seasons. A lot of people don't agree with the new characters. So, I mean, I'm kind of like going into a little tangent here, but it's relevant to the future of KI. I think from a competitive standpoint, from a game design perspective, I think IG needs to, Iron Galaxy, who's the current developer of KI, needs to spend a little more time interfacing with the competitive community to understand what KI needs to be successful, or what top players think of changes before they're made and introduced into the community. Because I can tell you right now, when Season 2 dropped, that's when a lot of people who were playing Season 1 stopped playing the game. They're like, yeah, I don't like these changes, I'm just going to stop playing. I don't like what happened to my character, right?
That's true, and there was, I remember even at Summer Germany, there was a ton of debate. I think I had asked Grief and CD Jr. about that as well there, about what their views were on the upcoming season, and it did seem like there were a lot of, now I know they still actively play KI, but I did notice that there were a few players that I used to know that were kind of like, and they switched to other games, which brings me to my next question. If, when the other games are released, Killer Instinct does start to struggle in the tournament scene, are there any other games, since you actively play Killer Instinct, that you've considered picking up?
Yeah, I mean, there are a number. I mean, this isn't the first game I've played, obviously, and played a lot and really trained in. But it is the first game I've taken out of the bedroom, so to speak, and been competitive with in a tournament scene.
Right.
In the past, I was a pretty high-ranked StarCraft 2 player. I played Street Fighter Cross Tekken pretty seriously, but I never got an opportunity opportunity to play in a tournament because the game was already dead by the time I picked it up. So for me, I'm not a KI player at heart. I'm a competitive gamer at heart. And if KI is to die, I mean, like when Street Fighter 5 comes out, I'll try it. I'll see if I have fun with it. But that's like the main thing for me. Is the game is fun. If I can have fun, I don't want it to be work. You know what I mean? I want it to be fun first, and then I'll work on it. But if it's not fun, I'm not going to play it. So, I mean, I'll try Street Fighter. I'll try Mortal Kombat. I'll try all those games. If one of them really sticks and KI starts to die, you know, I'll start to get competitive in one of those, or maybe I'll stay competitive in both of them. I mean, I will always support KI. KI is a game that sort of gave me attention in the fighting game community and gave me a voice here. So I'll always support that game. And like, you know, I put $100 in the top bonus. I stream this game all the time. I try to interface with the developers and show them bugs and try to give them balance ideas and stuff like that. And I interface with community all the time. I'm very active, so I will always be there for KI. But, you know, if the developers don't start to make, I think, some better decisions around the game and, you know, people stop coming out, then I think for me, I already have limited time. You know, I have a career and all this stuff that I have to deal with. So I have limited time to train a game already. So I'm already at a disadvantage to these players. So it comes to the point where it's not worth my time to invest in KI. Like, come to a tournament and it's 10 people. I'm just going to go to a different game for sure.
Right. Well, thank you so much, I know, for coming, you know, out here to NEC and supporting KI so much, and thank you for meeting with me and doing this interview as well. I do have one more question. I kind of ask this question a lot, but I know you already asked this in my written interview, but I'm going to ask again. What is your, if you could be one superhero and one fighting game character, who would it be and why?
Oh, one fighting game character. I don't even know the answer to that. I think for, they're probably like a similar thing. So I think for a superhero, Wolverine's always been a superhero I thought was great. One, just because it has the healing factor, and he has an adamantium skeleton, and like his weapons are integrated into his body. So he's pretty much like good. Like he can go into any situation, get blown up, like deal with anything, and he'll just eventually come back. You know what I mean? He can get up close and personal. He doesn't have to worry about some like other weapon that he has to hold on to. It's like everything's integrated. So for me, I think that's cool. Like he's just like totally self-sufficient. He can go in and get shit done. And then I think as far as a video game character, specifically in the fighting games, or I don't know, maybe that's a tough question. I think at this point probably Saberwolf. He's very similar. He's very similar to Wolverine. You know, he gets around quickly, he gets up close and personal. He makes you think. He drives you crazy, right? He makes you think a lot when you're in the game. So probably Saberwolf and Wolverine. Yeah.
Well, that makes sense with Saberwolf since that's your main in KI. But thank you so much again for meeting with me today. I know that you said that you're leaving right after this, so have a safe trip home, and I'm sure we will see more of you soon online in the future.
Hopefully. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Definitely.